Hi everyone, Kelly here from Body Fit Solutions. So we're going to focus on the feet and the mechanics of the feet a little bit. So what you need for this is a soft massage ball or a Franklin ball, or something that's a little bit squashy and giving. Could be a tennis ball or something like that. Try not to use the spiky hard balls for that. And then I've got a lacrosse ball or a slightly harder ball, okay? So what we're going to do is stimulate underneath the feet. And what's really important is for the nerve endings and for the fascia under the feet to really be hydrated and to be able to absorb the floor. Now when we walk around in our day-to-day life, in our modern life where we have concrete, obviously we wear shoes. The problem with shoes is that they become very shock absorbing for us. So we're actually using the sponge as our feedback. And the feet then no longer have to explore the floor and to feel the surfaces it's on, because all it experiences is the sponge of the foot. And if we start getting more and more sponge, like often the modern day footwear is, where we're kind of ending up with a quite thick sponge underneath the foot is going to start to become dormant in terms of what it needs to do in our functionality. So wherever you can, especially now that it's summer, get yourself outdoors, bare feet, in the house, bare feet, wherever you can walk bare feet. And I really encourage you to get into barefoot shoes. So Vivo Barefoot is a really great trainer. There are other trainers out there that are going towards the minimal shoe. So your shoe should be able to spiral and bend in half, okay? So check out Vivo Barefoot and other models like that can help you feel the floor a little bit more. So less sponge is better. So we want to stimulate the under arch of the foot, okay? So we're going to start with the prickly ball, the spongy ball, the more softer ball. And we're just going to stimulate the nerve endings underneath. So because it's prickly, my foot can feel that there's little nodules on there. And I'm just going to roll around the foot, okay? So I'm just kind of covering the surface area of the foot with the ball and just feeling the texture of the ball. So if it does have knobbly surfaces, this is quite good, okay? And what's really great to do is to, and you can do this with your kids, is to just put stuff out on the floor like pebbles or mats or cushions or even bits of Duplo, and get them to walk across the different surfaces, fuzzy surfaces, soft surfaces, harder, more scratchy surfaces. Even if you've got like bits of paper that are quite crunchy, you can crunch them up in a ball and get them to feel different textures underneath their feet. Okay, so I'm just kind of stimulating those nerve endings. And then what I want you to do is to just roll your foot so you dorsiflex the ankle. Okay, so this is where we flex the front of the foot. And then I want you to roll so that we plantar flex. So I'm just kind of putting the ball of the foot on the ball. So I'm just going to show you from this side, so hopefully you can see. So I'm going to roll and dorsiflex. So that's flexing the front of the ankle. Roll and plantar flex. So the front of the ankle is nice and long. And then I'm going to roll and dorsiflex. Now I want to be conscious of my standing leg now. Okay, and am I providing space and lift, but not tension in that standing leg? So this is a really good balance exercise as well. Dorsiflex. You can add some breath to it if you like. Inhale. Exhale. One more. And up. Good. Now, I did that little circulation one on my right, so I'm going to do the circulation on my left. So change legs and just start to stir that leg around. So I'm going inner arch, balls of the feet, down the outer arch, and into the middle of the arch, so you can go down and up a little bit. There's no rules, just really kind of waking up the feet. Okay, just stimulating those nerves. And again, check in what's happening over here to your standing leg. Are you able to stand nice and tall? Now I already feel a little bit fatigued on that standing leg after doing the dorsiflex, plantar flex on the other side. Okay, so I'm going to turn this way. You guys are still on the same foot. And we're going to, you just got to find the right position of the ball. So you're going to roll, dorsiflex the ankle, roll, plantar flex the ankle. Roll, dorsiflex, roll, plantar flex. So the front of the ankle opens up and and forward and up. Nice smile. Standing tall, feeling space in your supporting leg, okay? Feel space in your ankle, space in your knee, space in your hip. It's not tension, it's not rigidity. Awesome, okay? So now I'm going to take the cross ball, a slightly heavier ball. So it needs to be slightly harder, okay? And I'm going to go to the ball of my foot and just gently press. And press. Now I want the feet to kind of splodge around the ball. Okay, now I've been doing this a lot, so you might find if you're new to this, that the feet don't really splodge around the ball. Okay, that they are remaining quite rigid. Okay, so you're just going to press where you can, and then I'm going to move down. So I do about 5 or 6 little presses, and then I'm going to move down into that middle fascia. Now this is where it can get quite tender. Okay, so I'm just going to be very gentle with myself. If the hard ball is too much, go to a tennis ball or something a little bit softer. And I'm just waking up, hydrating. Now I want to just gently press, release. Press, release. Okay. And then I'm going to take the ball of my foot onto the floor, and I'm just going to press down into my heel. So just in front of the heel pad, there might be a little sensitive area. You've got a lot of fatty deposits under here, under the heel, and a lot of fascia, but just be careful, okay? If it feels sharp pain, ease back, maybe just go up the foot, don't work on the heel. But if it feels like there is some squish to it, that's great. And it could be slightly tender, okay? So don't be afraid of that. Lovely. Coming to the other side, so ball of the foot. Check in how you're standing. Okay, so this is also a little balance challenge for us. Okay, so I'm just kind of putting a little bit of weight onto that front of the foot a few times. Then I go to the middle foot, the middle arch of the foot. And just really feel, as much as you can, the spreading out of the foot. Okay? It's really important that whatever we do kind of fascially, and I'm going to put the ball of the foot on and just press into the heel, is that we hydrate ourselves. Okay, so if you're not drinking 2 liters of water at least per day, try and make that your first habit. Okay, because the more hydration that we have, the more our fascia will be fluid. Okay, so that fascia under the feet is really important. Okay, so we've energized the feet a little bit. Okay, now what I want you to do is to lift your toes. I'm just going to come a little bit closer. So I want you to lift and spread your toes up and feel like they can spread out, and then lower them back down. Okay? So lift and spread your toes like your hands, and it's almost helpful to do this with your hands because the feet can kind of get that interpretation of what you're doing. So spreading, fanning them out, lifting, and back, and stretching, lifting, and back. Now you're going to curl the toes, and I like to think of the big toe kind of curling back, okay? So imagine you've got like a little marble, and you're pulling that with your big toe to kind of curl up your heel. So if I was doing this with my hand, I'd be kind of curling up that pad of the big toe, and to kind of create this lovely little arch in your foot, okay? And for some of you that might be quite hard to create that little arch. So I'm kind of just pulling on the carpet and feeling that my inner arch lifts, but I'm kind of leading it from the big toe, okay? Big toe. So a few of those, and then the same on the other side. Now the other reason I face kind of sideways is it kind of helps versus kind of facing here for some reason. So if you feel like turning your foot out slightly, kind of helps you to engage that big toe. So pulling the big toe up and creating that arch in the foot. So I'm thinking of the ball of the big toe pulling. So it's kind of dragging the carpet. Don't worry if it's only a small little movement, but it feels like your arch is kind of waking up. That's really good. Okay? One more time. And release. Now I find this quite helpful to have a little ball between the ankles. So if you've got one of those soft Pilates balls, or using the little little squashy Franklin ball. And I'm just going to put this in between my shins, just above my little bony bit of the ankle. Now you might also find you want a little chair or to hold yourself against a wall doing this. So if your balance is not so great, then use a wall or a chair. Okay, so what we're going to do is go up into a little rise onto the toes. So I'm going to press through the big toe and rise up, keeping that little squidge of the ball. And I want to feel as if my baby toes are lifting off the ground and my pelvis is tipping up. And then I'm going to roll back down and just tap lightly the heels down. Okay, so I don't want to slam back down. So I'm going to push the ground away, really feel the big toes pressing into the floor, the baby toes lifting, the pelvis tucking. Okay, so with that ball, it's hopefully going to prevent us from wibbly wobbling all over the place. We're going to do a few with the ball and then we're going to see what it feels like without the ball. Baby toes lifting, little tilt of the pelvis. So you're going to feel work all the way up the legs, hopefully, not just in the calves. One more time, pushing the ground away, lifting up, baby toes lifting, little tilt of the pelvis. Awesome. And release. So let's see what happens without the ball. Okay, so I still want to be able to roll through that big toe. Now for some of you it might feel like you're almost slightly rolling in the feet. Okay, so I'm going to roll up, baby toe lifting, lift. Now for some of you, you might start feeling without that ball that there's a lot of instability in the ankles. Okay, and that's totally okay. So what I would recommend is just going up a little bit, okay, so that you don't go all the way up. So we're just going to go a little bit to where I can keep the pressure in the big toe side. Okay, so I might not be able to go as high as with the ball, okay, rising up and almost rolling the big toes in. Now this is much more challenging without my ball, but I might need the ball at first just to connect into that inner leg. So one more time, and that's nicely warming up my back of the legs. Amazing. Okay, we're going to finish with a little balance. And what I would recommend that you do outside of this little workout is to stretch your toes apart. Okay, so I recommend to my clients taking their feet and really spreading them out. Okay, so I've got my thumbs underneath the arch of my foot and spreading the toes apart this way like a fan. So you can just give your toes a nice little massage, opening them out. And if you can challenge yourself to interlace your fingers through the space between your toes, that'll be a really big challenge for people that haven't done this before. But if we can interlace the hands right into the knuckles of the toes, that really gives a big, big stretch. That's your challenge, to try and get that to happen. Okay, last little exercise is a balance. So we're going to feel the spread of our feet. We're going to think about our standing posture. If you haven't done standing posture with us, go back and look at some of the tutorials that we've done on how to get into standing posture. Briefly, we want to take the weight back towards the heels, take the abdominals back and retract them with the chest expanding. So I want to be really stacked from my ankle, through my knee, through my hip, through my shoulders, through my ear. Okay, so that plumb line is nice and steady. Okay, so with my now new spread out feet and my connection to my big toe, I want to lift and just let my weight drift over to one side. I'm going to peel up onto the ball of the foot of the one leg, and I'm going to see if I can release that leg from the ground. At the same time, I'm going to reach my opposite arm as if I'm doing kind of a very slow run. I'm going to stand into the floor nice and tall, pressing the heel down and my body up. And then we want to return back to the middle point. Just feel where the pelvis is in space. Shift the weight over gently. I'm not leaning over this way. So I'm just shifting across. I'm going to peel my heel up, lift the leg. You might find a big difference in sides. And I'm going to draw that leg into my hip and press the ground away. I'm going to show you from the side what it looks like. I'm going to come back down and level. Okay? So from the side here, I'm going to be in my standing posture. We want to make sure that the pelvis isn't drifting here. okay? So the pelvis is back over the heels. I'm going to shift onto my left, lift the heel up on the right, and take it into a little hip flexion. At the same time, I'm going to press down into my foot. If right now you need a little bit of wall support, please use that. Down, shift over. Now I'm on my right leg, peel the left heel, press into the floor, and reach nicely up. You can do that as many times as you like, okay, to build some balance, and also challenge going into little taps around the side, okay? So going in different directions, and then trying to do kind of a floating circle as you go around, okay? So you can do an up and tap, up, almost around a clock, yeah? And then see if you can circle all the way around, keeping those feet spread out all the way through. Nice job. Hopefully your feet start to wake up. You can get into some barefoot shoes, and you can start to stimulate the arch of the foot so you can start going up the chain a little bit more effectively. Thank you.